Hey everyone, welcome back to Integrative Psychonautics. So I've got a bit of a quick kind of hot take, spicy, slightly controversial opinion for you that I think is really useful to share. And so I'm just going to put it out here in hopefully what will be a shorter form video. If you are someone who is new to psychedelics and psychedelic curious, if you're someone who is looking at psychedelics and psychedelic therapy in specific to resolve some sort of issue or trauma or long held, thing like depression or chronic anxiety, something like this, you have some sort of issue in your life and you've kind of got it in your mind that you're going to take psychedelics to resolve this and heal it. They're going to help you fix it and you're going to work it out. And this is the way you're going to do it. And you're all excited and you're ready to go and you're learning all about it. This message is for you. Here's my advice to you if you're in that situation. I think one of the most underrated, undervalued things you could do if you're kind of ready to go on psychedelics and you want to just dive in and get it over with and heal all your shit. I think one of the most underrated things you could do first is to actually have a bunch of recreational experiences. And I'd like to explain to you why. So recreational experiences are incredibly valuable when it comes to psychedelics. And I think one of the biggest, most common mistakes I see made is people jumping into the deep end with psychedelics, trying to heal their trauma, trying to heal their most deep-seated issue all at the same time. And often this is people who haven't either had success in therapy or haven't really gotten in touch with what the deep issue is in the first place, or maybe haven't ever done therapeutic work before. And all of a sudden they're like diving into that, and they're diving into it while being totally overwhelmingly high on a new substance that they're not familiar with and haven't taken before. And I think this is often just a recipe for setback, disappointment, failure, if you want to think of it that way, although I really don't think of it that way. Maybe being re-traumatized in a worst case scenario, or just generally having a bad, uncomfortable, sad, heavy, disappointing, confusing experience. And so I think for a lot of people, if you're a newbie, one of the best things you can do is just separate the therapy from your learning curve of psychedelics for a little while. Not forever, but maybe for like 4 or 5 journeys. Take some time and set it up so that they're fun, so that you are in a safe space, you're with people that you like, you have, comfortable, pleasurable things around you. There's no agenda. There's no thing you have to do or work on or get done or get right, or it's not like a high stakes situation necessarily. You can just kind of consume some psychedelics, allow yourself, your nervous system, your deep self to discover what that feels like. And then once you've got a few of those experiences under your belt and you're kind of like, okay, I've got a sense of how this feels and what this is and what it's like when it's intense and maybe what it's like when it's not so intense, and I know how to kind of work with it a bit, then start to introduce whatever the therapeutic thing you want to do is. I think this is so important. One of the things to understand about, so if you have any resistance to this, if you're like, yeah, cool, whatever, I just want to go, which is very common for people with trauma, because when we're traumatized, we tend to think in black and white, all or nothing kind of things. And so it's kind of like, I need to get all of this trauma out of me right away is generally kind of the impulse people have when they're kind of carrying trauma, even if they've carried it for decades. This is the feeling, right? What I found with recreational experiences over the years, because I've certainly logged my hours with recreational psychedelic use, is that there will be epiphanies and there will be kind of psychological healings and breakthrough moments and moments of insight or moments of release into an ecstatic state, or moments of profound, sometimes maybe a little bit of a grieving. You have like a 10-minute window where you're like really working through something and crying and the tears come out and then you go back to playing. All these things are very normal and very common in a recreational experience. And so it's not like if you do 5 recreational experiences before you do any therapeutic, it's not like that's all going to be a waste. There's a good chance that you'll get some sort of healing experience. But even if you don't, here's why it's really important. Your nervous system is always a part, the deeper part of our nervous system is set up to be scanning for threat, both external and internal all the time, right? And our nervous system is really built to be orienting towards safety in our environment, but also within ourselves. We are always kind of self-calibrating, self-balancing, learning, adjusting to subtle nuances and shifts. I mean, I'm sure most of us know that feeling of maybe like having eaten some food that wasn't quite like good, that was maybe slightly spoiled or slightly off. And there can almost be like a little bit of a freaked out panic moment when your body starts to recognize that maybe it's got a little food poisoning or something wasn't right in the food you ate. Our body is always adjusting and orienting. And that process alone, especially when you fed it a psychedelic, which can deeply disrupt our normal patterns of emotion, our normal patterns of cognition and thinking, like your brain may go irrational and weird and offline, which would be called tripping, right? We interrupt, we get different somatic body sensations than we're totally used to normally. For example, you might get like, hot and cold flashes or sweaty palms, or your legs feel like lead, or, all kinds of things can happen that are strange, that are just unusual. And that can provoke an anxiety response kind of from the deeper nervous system that is looking for threat and trying to detect threat and keep us safe, right? And so if you just push yourself headlong into a psychedelic therapy session, you've never done psychedelics before, all of a sudden you've taken 3 grams of mushrooms, which is a fairly high dose for a beginner, and you've kind of thrust yourself into this, your body's now not only having to navigate possibly being triggered by therapy and what the therapist is asking you to pay attention to or not pay attention to, or whatever comes up with that. You're also having to navigate just learning how to feel comfortable with this medicine, with this material that's moving through your body, and the weird kind of tricks of the mind that it plays on you sometimes, the tricks of perception and introception, what you feel on the inside of your body, the different sensations in your body, and the way sound sounds and the way meaning gets made. All that's different. And that can create this kind of alarmed effect. And I think this is a big part of the reason I keep seeing people, stories of people who like just dove in, bought their own grow your own mushroom kit, grew their own mushrooms, taken them by themselves in supposedly good set and setting, and had a terrible experience. I see a lot of this kind of story. Often these people are dosing way too high, because the meme online right now is to take these, I think, kind of absurdly high doses of mushrooms, at least for beginners. I wouldn't recommend taking 2 grams or 3 grams or 5 grams. Like, I think that's absurd until you're really comfortable. And in general, I keep seeing these people who are just kind of train wrecking when they have therapeutic intent. They have need. They have anxieties, fears, pains, traumas, grief. They have stuff to resolve. And then, it's like hanging all your hope on this one thing. And then if it doesn't go right, you're like hopeless and you're without, recourse. You don't know what to do to heal the grief or the anxiety now, because the one thing you're hoping on actually ended up being kind of uncomfortable or terrible or, frightening or overwhelming or what have you. A lot of this boils down to, too much too fast, to put it simply. And that includes dosage. That includes kind of diving into the deep end of all of this at the same time. That includes, again, that black and white, all or nothing thinking, assuming that it's all going to be at once and it's all going to be super intense. And really not just being kind of like common sense in my perspective about it, where it's like, okay, I'm going to baby step my way into this. I'm going to acclimate to it. I'm going to get comfortable with it. I'm going to set myself up knowing that set and setting is a big part of what shapes the experience. I'm going to set myself up in a situation that's low pressure first. I'm going to have a playful, fun thing with, my partner or some friends, or I'm going to, just watch movies and relax, or I'm going to do yoga and meditate the whole time and just, journal and let myself feel whatever I need to feel, or paint a painting, or, whatever kind of free form experience would feel good to you. I think that's a way better way to go. And again, a lot of times these recreational experiences end up panning out in terms of offering moments of breakthrough or well-being. And I think the basic idea here is you just want to get on a nice, solid, comfortable footing with the materials and your relationship to the materials and how they affect your body, and navigating the different way of thinking that arises out of that and the different way of feeling that arises out of that, and just getting comfy with all of that first before you throw yourself into some sort of heavy duty processing of your deepest held traumas or whatever it is. So that's kind of my message here. I hope this hits. I hope this makes sense. I hope this serves you if you're one of these people, and helps you to maybe reconsider, that impulse to just dive headlong into it. And if you agree or disagree, if you're someone who has experience with psychedelics, or you did dive in headlong into psychedelic therapy, high dose therapy for your first time, I'd love to know what your experience is. If you agree, if you disagree, if what your view on it is, would be really useful. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you for watching this video. And if you like this kind of content, please do consider subscribing to the channel, giving a thumbs up so that the algorithm knows to recommend it to more people. And I hope, wherever you are, whoever you are, that you're having a beautiful moment in time, that you're feeling healthy and happy and safe. And I appreciate your time and your attention, and I will see you guys soon.